for inviting me here in this prestigious school. Our great philosopher and the guiding light of the India, Gautam Buddha said, the only thing that is constant is change. And that's what he called Sanatan. So our history, humankind, is a history of change. The species of ape has given us a very pompous title, Homo sapiens. You know what is the meaning of Homo sapiens? Anybody meaning this? Our species name is Homo sapiens. What is the meaning of Homo sapiens? Anyone? Man the wise. Or I use the Hindi term for that, Adam Akalwala. So as you can see, we started from Africa about 70,000 years back. But I want to go a little back in time. So about 2 million years back, from 2 million to 1.5 million back, there were species of ape in Africa. It was not alone. There were other species of apes were there. But this species have very interesting thing about it. This has got a fire, a spark of curiosity. How it happened, that is a very interesting story. We are not unique at looking at the stars. In fact, birds use star for navigation. Honeybees use sun for navigation. When the honeybee goes out, scout, find a source of nectar, it comes back to hive and tell other workers, bees there, where the source of nectar lies, in what direction, at what distance. And they use sun for reference. They make particular dance, I might have read about it, beautiful figure of 8 they make. So orientation of this figure 8 relative to the sun, they make. And at what speed they are doing the dance tells the other bees distance. And so it is very natural, like say when humans were evolving in Africa, there were other species in Africa before humans which came out of Africa and settled in India, Asia, Europe, and they become extinct. So humans were not first to come out of Africa. Many other species were there. So before I start this journey, I want to do a small exercise with you, how we reach here. Imagine 1 year back, something we didn't have, that now became very common. In fact, I use that thing in making my slides. Though I'm a trained painter, but I didn't paint these images. I use my computer assistant, AI, to generate these images. And 1 year back, hardly anyone has heard about AI. It was only the experts knew about it. And within a year, AI is everywhere. And 10 years back in time, internet was not so common. Only privileged people have internet. But after the cheap internet services were available in India, the internet became access to everyone. Now go 100 years back in time. What we didn't have? We didn't have computer. 100 years back, we didn't have mass inoculation. Vaccination was not there. 100 years back, say commercial flights were not available to anyone. Now go 1,000 years back in time. And 1,000 years back in time, what we didn't have, imagine. 1,000 back, we didn't have science. What we call modern science was not there. Though we have technologies, there were no nation state 1,000 back in time. The borders were fluid. People were moving from one part of the world, going other part of the world, settling, fighting with the tribes, then again coming to agreement, mixing, merging, and evolving. And 10,000 years back in time, if you go, we didn't have written script. We depend upon very, say, unreliable memories. The story used to tell, and stories used to change from generation to generation. 10,000 years back, there were no empires, there were no cities, there was no civilization. We had just discovered the agriculture a few thousand years back, and were not very common all over the world. Now go 1 lakh years back in time, and 1 lakh years back in time, humans, Homo sapiens, were found only in Africa. 1 lakh years back, we didn't have proper language. The genes which caused the development of grammatical language evolved little later. 1 lakh years back, we were hunter-gatherers. Every day we hunt, collect food, and preserve food for some time. We collect roots, we collect berries, we hunt animals. Or in fact, most of the time we are depending on other big animals hunt. And we were a scavenger. Snatching kills from the larger predator. Because we were organized. We moved in tribes. We learned from each other, protected each other. Now go back 1 million years in time. 1 million years back in time, we were not even Homo sapiens. The species which lived in Africa, from which we evolved, was called Homo erectus. This was the first species walking erect, using two legs, and hands were free. And they started making tools, stone tools. Even before Homo erectus came, stone making was there. So the earlier species, Homo habilis, called handyman, was first to make stone tools. And around time Homo erectus was evolving into human, we learned how to make fire. And that made a big change in our life. Now go back 10 million years back in time. And probably that time we had a small tail or big tail, I don't know. Because about 8 million years back, one species of ape lost tail. And one branch evolved into chimpanzees, bonobo, gorillas, orangutan, and one species moved in different direction. All these related species, we are less than 1% different from us. Chimpanzees, closest cousins, I call them cousins, because that's what Darwin discovered. All species, animal, plants are our cousins. We are hardly 1% different. But what that 1% difference made that we see around us, I'll come back to present time and retelling this story. So imagine, life started somewhere here. This is span of life on Earth about, it started around, say, 3.8 billion years ago. Oldest fossil we discovered is about 3.8 billion years ago. So suppose here life starts. So this whole span is the history of life. So from here, one hand span, 1, 2, 3. Till here, we are only microbes on Earth. So about 600 million years ago, the single cellular creatures came together and started evolving into multicellular life. Later, complex organisms evolved. So in this history, human life is just growth of your nail that can be erased with one stroke of the file. So for about some 8 million years ago, when apes were diversifying, till 4 million years ago, there were few species, some trace fossil we found, few species like Homo chadensis, Sahelanthropus tungensis, and chadensis. Then about 3 million years ago, somewhere around 3 million years ago, one interesting species evolved in Africa. The fossil was discovered there. So when the scientists were discovered that fossil, they were celebrating discovery of this fossil, a small ape, the size of chimp, about half height of me. Its brain was also not much bigger than chimpanzee, but very interesting feature it had different kind of pelvis. So his body was evolving into somewhere between the tree life and the life on the ground. And that was the time in Africa, the change, so many changes were happening. And so this species learned to walk on ground, both hands become free, and within, say, 1 million years, it started making stone tools, learned how to make fire. Again, within next 1 million years, it started walking erect, and because of his hands were free, it made fire, it can started food processing. The first technology was food processing, using fire to half-cook your meat. Learned to make tool to snatch meat from the big carnivores. And that lead to explosive growth of brain. So now come to time the Homo sapiens was evolved in Africa. They were living in tribe. Other species migrated before him, but they became extinct later. The Homo sapiens started from Africa about 16,000 years back, explored the entire planet Earth, lived everywhere, and here we are. This species learned secret of nature by experimenting and observation. And the biggest success we have because we are ready to change. We are ready to discard old ideas which are wrong. So this scientist you look, Copernicus, he discovered that maybe Earth is the center of this universe. And other planets are going around it. Galileo, he used his telescope to prove the truth. What is the truth? He found that Jupiter had its moon going around it, so Earth cannot be the only center. Phases of Venus showed us that Venus is going around the sun. And after the observation, confirmed that Earth is going around sun, not other way around. In India, Aryabhatta discovered Earth is a sphere, but failed to go beyond that. Some other time I'll go in reason why he failed, because India was changing. The time Buddhist ruler was patronizing Aryabhatta, then the India changed much, and we lost that tradition, that lead star. Darwin in Europe discovered that all the species are related to us. We also animal. We are apes without tail. And he had urged that humans should have evolved in Africa. The closest species were living in Africa, like that chimpanzees and other apes. And any animal we see are our cousins. We are related. Like we are related to all apes. 8 million years back, 10 million years back, we had a common ancestor. All apes have common ancestor. 200 million years back, most of the vertebrates have a common ancestor. 500 million years back, all the single cellular animal, we are also made up of many cells, we are a common ancestor. So we all are cousins. And then once this breakthrough had happened, from Galileo, Kepler took up, then Einstein, Newton took up, and discovered law of gravity, and clearly discovered that the nature is run by natural laws. There's no divine will to move Mars from here to there. It moves because of law of gravity, which are natural law. We can learn and discover them. And this process of discovering truth of nature had given us a big start in technology. So this illustration you see, I wanted to put another scientist there apart from Newton and Einstein. It was Al-Hazen. Al-Hazen was an Arabic astronomer, scientist. He discovered the method of science, which is the most important, that I want to emphasize. Method of science is that truth can be found by questioning. Al-Hazen said, when you have some idea, become biggest critic of your own idea. Find weakness in that. Find counter evidence to that. And this tradition continues till date. The tradition is started by, a scientific tradition by Copernicus, Arifert, Copernicus, Galileo, Kepler, Newton, Einstein, Hawkins. A result of that, from savannas of Africa, from caves of coast of Africa, we use planet Mars. The only planet in entire known universe which are inhabited by rovers, robotic rovers, rather robots, robot geologists are there, is Mars. And the next picture you see of Sunita Williams, which became the most brave woman astronaut in the history of humanity. She was stuck in space. She was a very experienced and very calm and composed woman. She didn't panic. We were panicking. TV channel was spreading panic. I can say in front of Sai. But she was a brave woman. And this taught us, yes, we can change. We can evolve. And from Homo sapiens, we call ourselves Homo sapiens, man the wise. Now time had come to become Homo Spacian. The great Russian engineer and pioneer of space science, Tsiolkovsky, had once said, the earth is cradle of mankind. We had to grow up. A child has to grow up and move out of cradle. So now time had come to move out, explore the universe. Right now we are stuck to our close Earth orbit, like ISS, most of the missions go there. Now we are again, doors of universe is opening up. We are ready to go back to moon. We have successfully launched Chandrayaan 1, Chandrayaan 2, failed, but Chandrayaan 3 is one of the most successful missions. We have to become true Spacian, then only become true Sapiens. Because there are problems. And the problems are, we still inherit a lot of bad things from the animal background. Territoriality, greed, fear. They were good at certain time in evolution of mankind. You have to have fear, otherwise you'll be killed by animal. If you have some sharp shaking, you should run away from that. Might be a leopard hiding in that. But now it has become problem to us. Fear, greed, and arrogance, believing in yourself only and not considering others. So this is a picture, a shot I've taken for the famous film a novel written by Arthur C. Clarke, Space Odyssey 2001. So there's an ape man striking this bone, using as a tool, and then next shot, it throws in the sky. And this picture has to interrupt. We using small rafts cross the ocean. We settle the Pacific Ocean, middle of nowhere, in Hawaii Island, in say all these Pacific islands, using man-made small rafts without any modern technology. Now we have spaceships. We are almost there. We are almost there. I think we are planning to build first hotel in space. Okay, human want to explore and enjoy the universe. Of course, that is good. But we have to move out of this planet because so many dangers facing us. We destroyed our planet by our greed. Gandhi said once that ample for everyone on this planet need. For everyone need there is sufficient, but it cannot fulfill one person's greed. So from needs-based attitude, we have to move toward need, what we need, really need, to evolve and become successful species. All these other human species become extinct. Homo habilis was extinct. Homo erectus become extinct. Neanderthals become extinct. Now we are also at the verge of either we become extinct or we become successful species to spread in solar system first and explore all the known universe. So this time to contemplate. We have to avoid wars, but not become coward. We have to live peaceful for other people, being different religion, different language, different culture. That is what made us success. Science didn't develop in one country, in one culture, one religion. See all these scientists from different countries, different background, but they come together to same conclusion if evidences are there. So very soon we are going to explore and expand humanity to the stars. So I want to conclude with this. Stars don't tell our future. Stars are our future. Thank you very much.